is Just a Little Moment with a twist. Your host, Dr. Jackson-Dean, the pen place. You ready? Let's go. Just a no twist.
This Just So You Know moment is brought to you by Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean and Jackson-Dean Investments. Just so you know, Dr. Jackson-Dean, the PN Slayer, says, I am a talk show host, a speaker, a life and success strategist, and an author. I inspire, empower, and coach others to be the best version of themselves. Welcome to Just So You Know moments with a twist. I am your host, Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean. Hey y'all, I'm back. We already starting off with some technical difficulty, but that's okay, because what I say in my disclaimer, we just gonna keep on rolling through this bad boy like nothing ever happened. But that's okay. If you're on, make sure that you like and share this video. Somebody hold some watch parties. I see that this is being something new and people are doing. They're holding watch parties and doing that, and it's working out. Uh-oh. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, people are having watch parties of different events and videos and lives and all that stuff. So do your girl a favor and have a couple watch parties for me. See if I can get this thing going here. How y'all doing tonight? I almost sound like Betty Wright. How y'all doing tonight? Oh Lord, but I'm here. And like I said, I'm having some technical difficulties because my computer decided at 7 minutes to showtime to go into a, what is this, system update and all this stuff here. So it's pretty much doing its own thing right now. But that's okay, because we're going to keep moving on. Hey, Big Daddy. Hey, Latrice. Thank y'all for joining. And so, as I always say, on the Just So You Know moments with a twist, we aim to detect and correct. Detect it and correct it. So this week, we're going to discuss the topic of fear of failure. How about that? Fear of failure. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so if you haven't scheduled your mammograms, make sure you schedule your mammograms and also talk to your loved ones about scheduling their mammograms. I also want to let you know, just so you know, that men can also get breast cancer. And according to the Bureau of Statistics, 1 in 1,000 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year, and that's 2,750, I think, was the number. Like I said, I'm going without my computer. I'm straight off my head here. 2,750 men would be diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's from the American Cancer Society. That was a statement that they made in 2019. So we want to make sure that our men are also taking care of their breasts. And one other little known fact is that with Black men, the prognosis is worse for breast cancer than it is for any other race. Hey, Lisa. So we want to ensure that we get our men in there and get them tested. And they have breast care as well. Hello, Mother. So another thing I want to make you aware of tonight is that you may hear a difference in the way that I'm speaking. Well, I had this little gap situation going on. Just came out of nowhere after some dental work that I had done. And so last week, I got braces. So you may hear a little lisp or some issues with howdy. You may hear some issues with my pronunciation or my enunciation because of my braces. So that's what's going on with that. But I'm so happy that y'all are here tonight. And like I said, we're starting off with some technical difficulties due to my computer going into a system update. But our topic for the night is fear of failure. So let's get into it. Fear of failure will stunt your progress. The fear of failure will cause you to become stuck in a situation where you should be thriving. You should be moving forward. But because of fear, you'll find yourself stuck. Fear of failure is a breeding ground for contempt. Y'all know what contempt is? Yes, give me some likes and some loves. I hear you. You can hear me. Hey, Ken and Madeline, thank you for joining. If you can hear me, you understand what I'm saying? Please give me some love. Send me some hearts up. I appreciate it. But fear of failure will cause harm to your success. Did y'all know that? Did you know that your fear of failure can cause harm to your success? We all know this, right? We all know what it's like to be afraid of something, to have a fear. So if we know what it is, and we know that the majority of us suffer from this, not just the majority, all of us at some point in our life suffer from a fear of failure. And if we know this, why are we still so afraid to fail? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody give me a comment out there and tell me why we are currently in our stage of life, or in our stage of our journey, in the stage of our expedition, in the stage of our successes, in the stages of our tests, or whatever that we got going on right now? What is it? Why are we afraid of failure? Do we find ourselves being afraid of failure because we're afraid that someone would notice that we're not the smartest person in the room? Are we afraid of failure because we realize that we don't know everything, and now we can see that maybe somebody else would notice that we don't know everything? Well, allow me to assure you, everybody knows that you, me, and nobody else knows everything. Nobody knows everything about everything. Some people may be pretty savvy in certain subjects, on certain topics, industries, businesses, whatever. People may be savvy or smarter than others, but nobody knows everything, okay? Do we have some freeze up going here? Let me know. And I believe we have frozen, but that's okay. We're gonna, like I said, we're just gonna keep rolling right on, okay? So, are we afraid of failure because we don't want to appear that we don't know all the answers? Is that the reason why we're afraid of failure? Is because we don't want to give the appearance that we don't know all the answers? which I go back to what I just said. None of us know everything. None of us are astute in every subject, every topic, every industry. Nobody knows all the answers to anything, okay? So I consider myself pretty smart here. And I know several people around me and in my circles or out of my circle that are pretty smart as well. But they don't know everything either. Like I know, y'all look like my computer might try to come up. That'll be great. But if it doesn't, guess what? We talking about a fear of failure. I ain't scared. Come on, Cletus, I ain't scared. I come on through this and work it off the top of my head. And that's what I just may have to do tonight. Maybe this is my test, huh? Maybe this is my test, but that's okay. There was a time, and I'm being pretty authentic right now. There was a time where I didn't want to be presented or perceived as not being the smartest. Okay? But like I said, I'm being authentic. So I know what it's like when you're not the smartest in the room or you don't know all the answers. And I know what that feeling feels like. And so it's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of something that nobody wants to feel. And I went through this myself where I felt like, oh my God, what if everybody in the room finds out that I don't know all the answers? But I overcame that. And guess what? Dr. Jackson-Dean is fine with not knowing all the answers. Dr. Jackson-Dean is fine with failing at some things. And this was something I had to really learn to grasp, because for the longest I was like, it was just the fear. It was the fear of saving face. I didn't want to go through that shame of, and what I thought was shame of not knowing everything. How could you be ashamed of not knowing everything? But that's the way I feel. And like I said, I'm being authentic with you on here. Hey, my cousin Felicia. Thank you for joining tonight. Hey, Tracika. And let's see, Florine House said, because that's what we have been taught. Exactly. We have been taught that it's not a good thing to fail. And it's a shameful thing to fail. And it's not something that anybody wants to experience. And yes, it's true. Not a lot of us want to experience what it is like to fail. But it happens to the best of us, right? It happens to the best of us. Hey, cousin. And so I had to get over not knowing all the answers to everything and not trying to be the smartest and not feeling like I had to be the smartest. And guess what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that now. I'm okay with allowing someone else know that I didn't have all the answers, that I don't know everything. That was a part of my life that I had to become comfortable with. And it took me a long time to become comfortable with that, because I always felt like it was like somebody always looking down and saying, oh, she don't know. Oh, she don't have the right answer. Oh, I'm smarter than her. Oh, she, I just felt like I just had to do something to increase my knowledge so that I could save face about it. It happened. I'm being authentic. I'm telling y'all what was going on in my life and how I felt at the time. And now that I've gotten over it, just letting you know that you can too, okay? I'm perfectly fine with that, all right? What I discovered is that my fear of not being the smartest person in the room caused me to miss out on learning opportunities. Y'all understand what I'm saying with that? Because I want to be perceived as the smartest, the brightest, and know everything, then nobody could teach me anything, right? And so when it came down to learning something, I wasn't receptive to the learning because of perception. But who lost in that? Me. I lost. Because when I could have been learning something from somebody else, I wouldn't take advantage of it because I didn't want them to think I didn't already know. Can I get some likes? Can I get some likes on that? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? When I say that this is heavy. This is heavy, and this was heavy on me. To think that I was in a position where I was the smartest or should have been the smartest, but didn't feel like I was the smartest. But I couldn't let nobody else know that I wasn't the smartest because I didn't want them to know that I wasn't the smartest. And so when they tried to teach me something, I wasn't receptive to it because I wanted them to think that I already knew what they was trying to teach me. When all actuality, I didn't. And so I caused harm to myself. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that you don't have to do the same thing that I did and miss opportunities of learning something new or learning something better simply because you're afraid to not be the smartest person in the room. So did my live go out? I see it coming back on, so that's good. And so I'm having an authentic moment here, as well as giving you some free game here. This is free game that I'm telling you that take the time to learn from somebody else. I always tell my sons, and I have 3 sons. Everybody know I have 3 sons. And one of the things that I always tell them is that you don't have to learn everything by personal experience. I always tell them that every experience does not have to be personal. Dr. Jackson-Dean, what do you mean? What are you trying to say when you say every experience doesn't have to be personal? And what I mean by that, and what I explain to my sons is, you don't have to go through everything firsthand. You can watch or listen to someone else's experience and learn from them. You can learn from what they have gone through and apply it to your situation so that you don't actually have to go down the same road. So every experience doesn't have to be personal, okay? And so you can learn from that just by watching and listening to somebody else. And for example, let me see what Felicia said. Have you found a root of where that behavior may have come from? Oftentimes there's a reason that we are the way that we are. You are absolutely right. In any situation that you're in, there's always a root cause. And, you know, I'm big about talking about root causes of situations. And I really believe my root cause in that is because during that time, there was a lack of confidence. There was lack of confidence in myself and my ability and what I knew and what I could offer. And so I shielded. I disguised it with being the smartest. And I wouldn't allow anybody else to see me at a point where I wasn't showing how smart I was or what I could do or what I couldn't do because of the lack of confidence there. But I don't grew up now, y'all. I don't grew up. And my confidence is on 10. How about that? Probably like 10,000. But I understand why and the reason why I was doing that. And I understand that there was nothing wrong with not being the smartest and not opening myself up to save face. And so what I had to do is learn to be receptive to being taught. And I'm okay with that. But back to what I was saying, with not every experience has to be a personal one. Let's think of it like this. You got two friends here, and you both decide that you want to bleach your hair, right? Or you want to get your hair bleached. Neither one of y'all having the money to go to a colorist, a professional colorist, to get your hair bleached. And so you decide that you're just going to do it yourself because you can read instructions. You watch the YouTube videos on people doing their hair and everything, and you feel like that's something that you can do as well. So you have one friend that decides that they want to be the first one to do this and have been one with the first hairdo. And so your friend decides to go and bleach their hair. And they bleach all of their hair out. And so now they're bald-headed. And so they are in complete disarray. They're going from frantic, panic, to depression. And now you see this happening to your friend. You see your friend going, hey sis, how you doing? Hey Michelle. You see your friend going through all of these different stages of grief. Michelle, I'm talking about some grief over here on your hair. You see your friend going through all these different stages of grief due to burning all their hair out with bleach. Now, because they jumped and did this, they were the first person to do it, they're bald-headed, and you still have your hair, right? So are you going to join them and bleach your hair? And bleach all your hair out? After seeing your friend bleach all their hair out and now they're bald-headed? No. This is the grand opportunity for you to learn from somebody else's personal experience, because not every experience has to be personal. That's what I mean by that. And that's on a simple scale, a very simple scale. Now, let's move on to something that you asked your friend, what was their reasoning for this? Why didn't they wait on you? Your friend has now demonstrated lack of good sound judgment, lack of professional preparation, and now to add insult to injury, they bald-headed. So why would you take the chance and do the same thing the same way when you've seen this firsthand, secondhand with your friend? So that's what I'm saying in the simplest point here. But in the same theory, in a more complicated scenario, let's look at business. Now, you may have a friend or associate, someone in your circle that came up with a good idea, and there's nothing wrong with having good ideas and acting on it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. But they jump out there with this idea, they get them a building, they get them a storefront or whatever, and they're working in this business. Working in the business is just, everybody knows it's a fly by night, but because they believe in it so much, they decided they, as they say, step out on faith on it. But there's no work in that faith. You just jumped out there. And so 3 months in, they're hemorrhaging cash. Every time you look up, they're borrowing money, they're taking out loans, they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, as the old folks would say. I had to rob Peter to pay Paul to get by this month. And now they find themselves out of business, right? Now, you have an idea. You have even a similar idea. Are you going to go and make the same mistakes that your friend or your associate made? Or are you going to talk to them and see what they did wrong, or where they zigged when they should have zagged, or whatever? Taking money that they don't have, invested it into overhead that they don't need, something that they could have done in a mobile situation in their own car, right? So instead of going to get a building, a storefront, a lot of the stuff that they were doing, they could have did in a mobile way. There's a list again. But because they felt like that they could handle it, but without preparation, it caused them to fail, right? So this is just an example. We all know that every business can't be mobile. Every business you can't run out your car. Every business you can't go see people on a daily basis or whatever like that. But some can. And what I'm saying is that if you watching somebody in business going through all these trials and you see where they're making a mistake, you don't have to go and make the same mistakes that this person has made, because you're learning by their experience. Every experience does not have to be personal. And so this brings me back to my point of being afraid to fail and being afraid that someone else are going to perceive your efforts as a failure. Y'all remember that song, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers? Y'all getting quiet on me out here. Y'all still here? Kenny Rogers had a song said, you got to know when to hold 'em. You got to know when to fold 'em. You got to know when to walk away. And you got to know when to run, right? Y'all remember that song? You got to know when to hold 'em. Know when to fold 'em. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. I like that song. And in this case, you got to know when to hold 'em. And that's your emotions, okay? That's your movement. Your emotions, your movement, right? You have to know when your thoughts are simply just that, thoughts. And you need to know when you need to hold those thoughts and get you a plan and get it together before you act on your emotions, right? Right? Can I get some lights on that? Can I get some lights on that? You have to know when to hold your emotions. You got to get prepared, right? You have to know when to hold and get your plan together before you jump out there spending money that you don't have, and don't allow someone to push you out there simply because they banking on capitalizing off of your mistakes. Those are not your people. And people will do that. They see you don't really know what you're doing, and so, hey, let me go ahead and make this quick buck. People will make a quick buck off of you, okay? You have to know for sure that you are ready to get out there so that you don't harm yourself or anyone else. You know, like your partner. You might have somebody who decided they want to partner with you. But if y'all don't have a solid plan going out there, not only can you hurt yourself, you can hurt someone else, okay? And once you get out there and you see things are not working, you can't, well, put it like that. You can get out there and things appear to be working, and you bring in a little money and things are looking good or whatever. Don't start balling out of control. And you know, some of us have the, my mom's a good singer. You know, some of us have the tendency, you start making a little cash and you want to spend a lot of extra money, okay? You have to put that money away so that you can have money to cover repairs. Because these are things you have to think about if you're going to have a business. Put that money away so that you can cover surprise and unexpected things that come up, and they always do. Product mishaps, overhead, extra high utility bill. Things happen, right? You have to know when to fold them. And when I say fold, I'm talking about folding them $100 bills. Y'all got to know when to fold them $100 bills and put them away for a rainy day. So we covered know when you hold them and know when you fold them. And so if you're in business and you have tried and everything that you're doing, but you're basically hemorrhaging cash in every aspect of your business. And like I said, robbing Peter to pay Paul, getting loans and everything. Don't try to save face in front of people because you're trying to impress them. Because guess what? They don't like you anyway. They don't like you anyway. They don't really care if your business flourish or not. So why are you trying to impress a bunch of people that really don't like you in the first place by blowing money and losing money? And you don't have to. That's all I'm saying. And you find yourself, you digging yourself deeper and deeper in debt. Hold on. And believe me, you don't have to do that, because then you can learn to know when to walk away. So you got to hold them, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. And if you continue with your business and you feel like that you can't walk away, but the hemorrhaging continues, instead of staying there and not walking away, get out of there, re-strategize, and come back. But if you're still at the point where you're not ready and you start off hemorrhaging, know when to run. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run, okay? And don't beat yourself up because you failed at this. But guess what? We learn through failure. I had put a scripture with it, and the scripture was Psalms 34:4 and 4 and 5. But essentially what it was saying is that man cried out, he prayed out to God. God delivered him, and he cried out again, and God delivered him. And he said, anybody that looks upon God looks upon him with radiance, and there is no shame covering their face. And this is what I'm talking about with having a fear, being fearful of failure. Many of us won't leave that business alone that's failing because we feel like we'll be shamed to say that we failed. But failure is important in succeeding, because sometimes you learn the biggest lessons in failure that make your next try, your next journey, your next expedition, your biggest success. So take some time and think about it. You don't have to be afraid to fail, because sometimes in that failure is where you build your muscles. That's where you gain your strength. And there said, let's begin with these braces. But that's where you gain your strength and you build your muscles, because the failure is teaching you lessons that get you to your greatest success. And But failure is scary, and nobody wants it. Nobody feel like if there was any way that they can get around it, they would. But I'm here to tell you, if you can find anyone who has never failed at anything, you could bet anything that they've done is not worth talking about. And I'll say that again. If you find anyone, you show me anyone that has never failed at anything, you can bet anything that and everything that they've done is not worth talking about. There's nothing wrong with failing. Sometimes you go back and you rethink it and you make whatever your product was, you make it better. Because you've already went through the lessons and you went through and you charted and you took notes and you saw it and you thought about it and you rethought about it. You thought about it again. I know one thing I want to talk to you about. I had a little section in my book, Level Up to Mindfulness. It's talking about the major components and the primary factors of being successful. And one of those things, starting off with that, is that first component is confidence. You got to have confidence in yourself. Then you got to have commitment. That commitment is whatever you're doing. Be committed in it. You got to have belief and believe in yourself and what you're doing. Nobody has to believe in your dream but you. You got to have that belief in it. The next thing is action. Taking action on what it is that you committed to and that you believe in and that you thought about and that you worked on and that you build a confidence in. That's the next thing. Then you got to get some more belief. You got to get that faith up in what you're doing and what you want to do, right? And the next thing, and is one of the most important things that is in achieving success, and that's consistency. You got to be consistent in whatever that you're doing. You got to be consistent in your learning. You got to be consistent in your producing. You got to be consistent in your thoughts. You got to be consistent in your actions. You got to be consistent in your commitment. You got to be consistent in your faith. What y'all got to say out there? Y'all quiet. Michelle Saxon said, you own it. That's right. Because I'm speaking the truth because this is something I know for myself. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've been through. Being successful is hard work. It takes a lot to be successful. And I talk a lot about it in my book, Level Up. And I speak on the methods of being successful. So, grab your book, Level Up to Mindful at www.drlashondajacksondean.com. Get the book and the workbook, and trust me, you will be happy that you did. There's a lot of points in there, a lot of components that help you with your journey. But I just want to stress and overstress it. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is important. I wish I could have, my computer was working tonight because I had it all together. See, tonight, y'all saw me off the top of my head with this stuff, but pretty much the same, but I had some other points I want to get out. One of the things I was saying about failure, how important failure is a lesson that teach you what you missed, what you mistook in your thoughts, and it gives you the opportunity to go back and re-strategize and get it right. So what I'm saying to you, don't be afraid to fail. We all have failed, and we all gonna fail at something. So that's all I have for y'all tonight. That's the conclusion of failure, Fear to Failure. And I want y'all to do me a favor, if you would. Go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. And I also want you to look me up on Spotify. Do a search for either one, both of them. Dr. LaShonda Jackson-Dean. I should come up. My YouTube channel should come up on YouTube, and Spotify, my channel should come up there. Subscribe to it so you can catch all my updates. I appreciate it. And that's all I have for y'all tonight. Thank y'all for joining. We're going to be on Thursday night for the next 8 weeks. And hopefully after those 8 weeks, we'll be going back onto Wednesday night opposed to Thursday night. So thank y'all for joining Just So You Know Moments with the Twist, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Bye.